So, for the Bombshell Book Club, I finished another amazing read. I'm going to give you a little detail on what's on the back of the cover, but before I do, yes, this is the second pair of glasses. I chose this pair a little hip because it's plastic, but it's gold on the bottom, and it's got a little cat eye on each side. And you know your Bombshell. She's a cat lover and a dog lover, and when she saw these glasses, they spoke volumes. So, here we go. He's the last man on earth she should want. For a guy she's fantasized about throttling, Jake Bradshaw sure is easy on the eyes. In fact, he seriously tempts inn manager Jenny Salazar to put her hands to better use. Except this is the guy who left Razor Bay and his young son Austin, whom Jenny adores like her own, to become a globe-trotting photojournalist. He just can't waltz back in and claim Austin now. Jake was a little more than a kid himself when he became a dad. Sure, he dreamed of escaping the resort town, but he'd also truly believed that Austin was better off with his grandparents. Now he needs to make up for his mistake. He intends to stay in Razor Bay only until he can convince Austin to return with him to New York. Trouble is, with sexy, provocative, protective, utterly irresistible Jenny in his life and his bed, he may never want to leave. Okay. Well, I almost did not read this book, which would have been a dirty, rotten shame. But we start off with a funeral where he's lost his grandpa and his grandma in a short period of time. And with Jake being out on assignment for the National Geographic and hard to be relocating, Jenny was named the legal guardian of Jake's son, Austin. At first, I despised Jake's character without knowing his background and his history. And Jenny has had a rough history of her own, but was blessed to live with Emmett and Kathy, which is Austin's grandparents, by Carrie, the late wife, who died giving birth to Austin. That's why the mom's not involved in the story. Jenny has temporary custody, and Jenny and Jake's first meeting was cute and awkward. Jenny, he knocks on the door. She comes to the door, not in her best dressed attire, because she's cleaning house. It's her day to clean house. And he's like, "Is your mom home?" She steps outside because she's standing behind the screen door. And he clearly sees that he's made a mistake. But then she wonders if he's a lawyer. And she finds out soon that she's mistaken by inviting him in the house, and she's telling him, excuse the mess, it's cleaning day. But then it hits her when she sees the guy's looks and knows of the 13-year-old that she's having to raise, which is Austin, that it's his father, Jake Bradshaw. Now, Jenny, she is so good throughout this book. She makes that man walk the line whether he wants to or not. And she stays right on target. She's been in Austin life the past 11 years. The first time she's ever seen Jake, and he, of course, dismisses her remarks and says, well, he's here now and that he wants to be. And Jenny, who is slowly, he wants her to slowly convince Austin that Massachusetts is what's best for, hold on a second, computer problem. Massachusetts is what's best for everyone. And Jake at first questions Jenny's intentions and Emmett's funds, which I found incredibly rude. And Jenny is quick to inform him that she owns the inn and she has her own funds. Go Jenny. Jake notices Austin, his son, and Jake notices that Austin, his son, cares about Jenny and asks her to be the conduit between him and Austin. Jenny asks why. His response, "I'll let him finish the school year here. In the end, we will end up moving to Manhattan." The chemistry is so off the charts between Jenny and Jake. You just know they're destined to wind up with each other. But I want you to read that part for yourself because it's passionate. It's got that magnetism. It's got the everything that a romance needs to have. Jenny, I could relate to her because of everything she's struggled with. Um, it seems like she's had to be like the tough one, the one to carry all the burden on her shoulders, and that can get to a person after a while. But Jenny's dad is in prison, and she pays him a visit. He lets her know that he's soon to be up for parole, and wants her to play the part of a dutiful daughter, and say that he's going to be employed at her inn. Jenny says no, but not just no, emphatically no. He takes great offense to this. After Jenny um, tells him the way it's going to be, and go to page 224. It says Donna. Okay. Well, I missed out on page 181. So let me see what I missed out on. This is a good part. This is between. Let's see here. Trying to figure out who this moment is between. That I missed out on telling this on my Facebook crowd. Okay. It looks like this moment. Oh, this was between the Austin and his little girlfriend Bailey, and Bailey has went through loss as well, but so is Austin. And I like what Austin says in his wise young years. My grandma and grandpa died this year, so I know what it's like to lose family. I can't promise you that everything will turn out fine, because the truth is, it doesn't always. But Jenny says that it's just as easy to keep positive outlook as a negative one, and that sometimes doing so sends positive energy out into the universe and generates positive results in return. He shrugged. I don't know if that's too woo-woo for you, but I found that when things turned to crap, thinking that way kind of helped. And I thought that was sweet, that he's got a girl that he's sweet on in the book, and he tries to be kind and gentle and caring and compassionate, and it's just so cute. But okay, now moving on to page 224. Okay, this is the way she lines it up for her dad so he understands. Stop by if you'd like to have more equitable relationship with me. I know I'd enjoy that, but find a way to take care of yourself, preferably a legal way, because I'm done providing for people who should have made it their job to care for me. Good girl, she kept telling herself as she went through the sign-out process, made her way to the car. Good girl. She'd been strong, and she was right. Damn it. It was too late, of course, to have a mother that would take up the heavy lifting when things fell apart, and God knew it was past time to stop hoping that her father might show interest in anyone but himself. So she'd finally done what she should have done years ago, demonstrated once and for all that no longer expected it. Go me. Reaching her car, she unlocked it, climbed in, and tossed her purse on the passenger seat. She buckled her seatbelt, then looked at her shaking hands and burst into tears. So Jake, Jenny analyzes her feelings towards Jake on page 233, and says start reading on page 233 and go to page 244. Jake was leaving and taking Austin with him soon. It would be exceedingly stupid to allow herself to feel anything deeper than simple lust. She had first-hand experience with loving people and having them choose other things. Her dad had chosen wealth and power over her mother image and status. Damned if she goes down that road again. Okay. So, after she has strength and courage to drop the L word to Jake, meaning she loves him, Jake's first instinct is to run. The words Jenny speak are right on target, and it gives Jake a verbal shake to realize he needs to come back to reality. So we're going to go to page 351. Maybe. Oh, here, 350, that is. Jenny clearly didn't give a crap about his anguish, regret, nor what was she finished. Trying to do your best for him would be you busting your butt to make sure your relationship works. You're either in or you're out, Bradshaw. Austin deserves a better than a half-butt father who will drop by when he can fit in his oh-so-important schedule. She took a sudden big step back. And you know what? So do I. It took me way too long, but I finally vowed this year that I was through accepting the crumbs of other people's affections. She thrust her chin up at him. So excuse me if I won't take them from you. A man who refuses to commit to anyone because he had a few things go wrong in his life. He was grateful for the fury that snapped to life. A few things? I had a brother who hated me, a dad who walked out on me, leaving Mom and me flat, and a wife who died all before I was 19 years old. Oh, boo-hoo, Jake. Tasha grew up with a mom who was an addict before I was 17. I had a father who was only available to me when it suited him, and a mother who took her blank bed and leaving me to the responsibility of finding a roof to put over our heads and earning a living to keep it there. And not because my dad was a crook, mind you, but because her blanking Tony friends knew he was. Who the hell doesn't have issues? Most of us just suck it the hell up and get on with it. We don't use our troubles to dodge responsibility for the rest of our lives. He stared at her, stunned in fascination, the passionate conviction on her face. Even as her words took a sledgehammer to the wall he'd thought he'd so solidly built around his heart, that in turn thundered in his chest like a charge being set off, as his fortifications began to crumble piece by piece. Hugging herself, she looked around. I've got to get out of here. She strode over to the coat tree by the front door, grabbed a thin windbreaker from it, then turned to look at him in the eye as she pulled it on. If you go, don't come back. You'll be leaving wreckage in your wake, and I will not subject Austin to that again. And don't you dare leave it to me to break the news. You can damn well look your son in the face and see firsthand what it does to him when you tell him you rescind your invitation to be a family. Because I swear to God, Jake, if you sneak off, she sucked in a deep breath through her nose and gustily exhaled, there will be no place on earth that you can hide. And make no mistake, when I find you, and I will hurt you. She whirled and banged through the door, staring at the solid panels that still quivered from the strength of the slam. Jake didn't doubt her claim for a second. Now, that's as much as I'm going to give you from the book. Which leaves you with burning questions like, did Jake and Austin move to Manhattan and leaving Jenny behind? Did Jenny realize that she didn't love Jake? It was just a heat of the moment thing. Did Jake really walk away from finding his son? So now with all of these questions, the only way to find out the answer, read the book. And the book gets a 7. So that's a pretty high rating, not a low rating. You know you want to check it out. So check it out.